Okay.
Same
So what's that?
And this is one of the guys
Sandwich.
gotta click something.
Should've got more. But it probably
All right.
freeze it.
Well, I could wonder like how, why is it slow?
Thank you.
And it wasn't. It wasn't. You only did.
Thank you.
That's your, how are you?
Well, thanks. How are you?
I'm Uday Pallett, President of Council, in Ward One. Let me just go around, introduce yourselves.
Alex, we met briefly, yes. Hi, I'm Tom Schwartz, my council. Nice to meet you. Tom. Nice to meet you.
I'm Julia O'Keefe. I'm the junior council person.
Dennis O'Keefe, Mayor. Nice to meet you, Mayor.
I'm Laura Checkeye.
How are you?
I'm still driving out.
Yes, we've met. Thank you.
Max Younger, Borough Solicitor.
Nice to meet you.
Cool. So, thank you for applying for the Canvas Fire Ambulance Authority member. So why don't you tell us about yourself a little bit?
Well, I live here in Franklin Park, just around the corner. I have 2 kids. I have a wife. Both of my kids are in NA in 5th and 9th grades. I've lived here in Franklin Park for 10 years. I'm not originally from this neck of the woods, as you can probably tell. I was born and grew up in Ireland and been living in the States for 24 years now. I'm a paramedic. I work in the South Hills. I've been working in EMS for about 30 years. And I teach at the University of Pittsburgh. I teach undergraduates emergency medicine.
Awesome. So, what's the reason for wanting to apply for authority?
Well, I am very passionate about EMS. The 30+ year stretch that I've had has encompassed many different roles, from frontline paramedic work through managerial positions, looking after equipment and vehicle design, procurement, curriculum development, and education. So it's something I hold quite dear to my heart. And as a resident of Franklin Park, I feel I have a vested interest in what the ambulance provides in this neck of the woods.
Questions?
Yeah, I think I might have talked to you know, the time commitment on this. I'm not certain.
Yes.
Just to make it clear.
Yes, I am aware of the time commitment, yeah.
Yeah.
And I had the luxury of attending our meeting on Monday night, so I had a chat with Chris Dell as well. And he was able to give me some further insight into the time that was involved and when they meet and so on and so forth. All of which I'm very amazed.
That's great. And we know you're not an employee, so that's
That
not
is
just
correct.
you either.
I have no affiliation with them whatsoever, none whatsoever.
The work that you do is for a different agency.
That's correct. Yeah, my work is, albeit part-time, is in the South Hills and Mulhall Homestead area. But most of my time is tied up in the University of Pittsburgh teaching. I've been there for over 20 years. How long have you lived in Franklin Park? I've been here for 10 years. Yeah, I moved from the city up to Franklin Park. I knew very little about the North Hills beyond the fact that it existed until I moved up, and we're quite content here.
You were born in Ireland?
I was born and dragged up in Ireland. I moved over here when I was in my mid-20s. So I started off my EMS career over there
Did you?
and then moved to the States for more education. And then, of course, fell under the captive wing of a lovely young lady. And here we are at the hotel.
So that family there.
I do, yeah. Yeah, my parents are there. My dad actually is a retired paramedic. So this is something that's been in our family for a long time. My brother's there. He's a paramedic in Dublin. Yeah, we have the luxury of going back, fairly frequently. My parents were just here for Thanksgiving, and we'll be going back again, hopefully for Easter this year.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for applying.
Thank you.
He's really good.
Really impressive.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
And Stuart, thanks again for applying.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity.
Really important spot.
Do you have any questions for us?
I don't believe I do. I feel like I've put a bit of thought into it over the last, couple of weeks, and had a brief chat with Brian in the early stages and spoke again to Chris the other night. And yeah, I'm quite enthusiastic about it.
So one question I do have, is just sort of the perspective. So as I'm not sure if Chris filled you in, or you've been able to see some of the financial statements for the last couple of years from
Yeah.
the authority. As you can tell, they've been quite strained, as
Right.
many have.
Yeah.
And part of that strain is, there are payments from the participating municipalities.
Yeah.
Franklin Park has always supported this authority, fully. We fully obligated,
Excellent.
provide our obligation. McCandless has done in kind, and we have other municipalities that have, not followed suit.
Yeah.
Seems like that's slowly changing, but what are your thoughts on this?
I think it's probably a very welcome decision to throw some money into the ambulance authority. The reimbursement, as you're probably well aware of, has dwindled as the years have gone on. And it's all well and good to say that we've got, a fairly wealthy populace, but when you have lots of Medicare patients, for instance, like the reimbursement that they end up getting is quite low. I think there's a lot to be said for community engagement and reaching out to some of these boroughs to try and make them aware of what you do and don't be leaning on them further and try and happen the message. But I think it's a necessary evil. Some of that public funds, which again is why I'm invested as a resident of the field.
Any other questions for our candidates? Stuart, thank you again.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
And
Nice to meet you too.
Judy, when we're making a decision, I was looking at the agenda here. Is that decision being made tonight and letting everybody
Yes.
know? Yes.
It's set up that way, we
Yeah.
have to, but.
Yeah, but it's at least the plan
Space.
right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We be in touch shortly.
Thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Nice to meet you all.
Reach it down.
Thank you, Mayor.
That was a terrible bad joke.
Welcome to my work.
I'm more than familiar.
They really do. My brother did a whole thing in Dublin, so yeah, they do. Yeah. It's a way of life. Food and drink.
Hey, how's it going? You did talent, council? So I'm not sure if you know everyone. Why don't we go around, introduce ourselves?
Yep. I am Tom Ford, on council. John Lee, council.
Julia O'Keefe, junior council person.
Dennis O'Keefe, mayor.
Laura Check, hi, Adam, how are you?
Brian Malcolm, council.
Kevin Crum, would be nice.
Thanks, Zucker, Borough Solicitor.
Everybody else knows.
Very sure.
So Adam, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm live in Franklin Park on Graham Court. Been there for about 7-ish years now. I am in a position at UPMC Presby primarily, but work at all the local hospitals. For about the last year or so, I've been the associate medical director for the ambulance service. Do a lot of EMS pre-hospital work. I'm the medical director for Cranberry EMS as well. With them, I do field responses, training, go out for large scale events, stuff that they need supporting them as they can. My background is that I have an undergraduate degree in economics with a minor in business administration. Have sat on ambulance boards in the past, as well as other nonprofit boards, Jewish community centers in Albany, that sort of thing. And when the seat came available, I found out about it through the folks at the ambulance and thought it might be a reasonable endeavor. So that's why I put the application.
So you said currently you're an associate
Yep.
medical director
Yep.
for the ambulance story.
Yep.
What does it entail? It's just.
It depends on the person and the agency and what they want. For me, it involves just being available to them for whatever they need, whether it's training, assistance with difficult calls, large scale events like there was a Shaler house fire with a fatality. I was at that. I was with Ross at the in-town suites event that they had on Midnight Road a few months ago with large scale events. And then just supporting them locally, medically. I go on calls if stuff sounds particularly bad or that they need extra hands, that sort of thing. And then I do helping with a lot of their trainings, a lot of lectures, a lot of simulations, just make sure that they're up to speed with all their medical care.
I think it's a volunteer position.
Yeah, it's a volunteer position in the sense that I'm not paid by the authority. I'm considered an EMS physician under UPMC. So UPMC pays me to do this as part of my other responsibilities from the hospital side of things, but McCandless is not paid.
So you wouldn't see it.
No, I mean, yeah, I don't, there's no financial conflict. Obviously, I work with them on a clinical basis, so it's a, you know, from that perspective, but there's no financial implications.
You mentioned you're also for the Cranberry.
Yeah.
Authority. Is it the same role?
There I'm the full medical director. So here I'm the associate medical director. Technically, there's another physician who works as their medical director, just officially sign all the forms. They are on the same thing, but again, it's also paid by, my time is covered by UPMC. It's not, I don't get any financial compensation or grants.
It's a similar role.
But a similar role,
activities.
yes, yep.
Okay, and are you aware of the commitment, the time commitment that's involved here?
Yeah, it sounds like the meetings and then other as needed stuff for the board and yeah, and some of the committees that they have.
Questions? Go around.
How long have you been with these members?
The reason I laugh is because I left and then somehow got sucked back. So I did my residency here from 2008 to 2011, then did a research fellowship from 2011 to 2013. Left for 3 years, went to Albany, did a bunch of EMS stuff there, and then came back in 2016. Back in this.
Yeah, I was with UPMC for almost 30 years,
Oh.
and I didn't bump into you, but I
Yeah.
did a lot of the emergency department.
Oh, really? Okay.
Shady side.
Yeah.
Worked before in the Presby.
Yep.
But I managed construction.
Okay.
I was charged like tore down shoulders.
Yeah.
Built a new helipad at Presby.
Yeah, I was part of the team that helped move all the kids from the old children's to the new children's, which was an endeavor.
No, I was involved in that
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
I worked on the Wranglers research.
Yeah,
Program there for
yeah.
about 3 years.
Yeah, very good. Yeah,
So it's funny I didn't bump into
Yeah,
you with all
yeah.
that, because I worked in a lot of those.
yeah, definitely.
You mentioned you did research.
Yeah.
Which area did you?
So I do a couple of different things. So one is pre-hospital care research, but most of my funding now is actually into the military. I do frontline military medical education research for the government. So trying to figure out the best ways to teach specifically deployed providers how to perform skills. I was actually in Poland working with some Ukrainian medical personnel last month, doing some of that stuff. So, it's been very interesting, but it cuts down my clinical commitment, so I have some more time to do other stuff. It's interesting.
Just one last question.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned you have an economics background as well, right? So I'm not sure, well, actually, since you are at the authority right now, you're well aware of their financial situation, right? So Purcell and company have done a good job of turning it around. However, authorities are stretched nationwide, you know, it's a common concept.
Yeah.
Franklin Park has always fully supported, funded the authority. And the canvas is done in kind. We do have 3 other members, and you know, part of the frustration, or I guess issue, is the revenue sources, right? So we do have billing, external payments, but a large part of funding source is the municipalities. So as a representative of Franklin Park, what is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think I'll say that I've worked over the years probably with 15 different EMS agencies, and we have a saying in EMS, if you've seen one EMS agency, you've seen one EMS agency. So they're very different. And then state by state, how those EMS agencies are paid for is also very different. I think that one of the things when we talk about billing and that sort of stuff is that pays for the time the trucks are in motion, right? Like the time that the patient is there, the time we're responding to the medical care that's provided on that time. The difficult part is trying to provide finances for the time when people are just waiting around, waiting to do something. And that in and of itself is a balancing act. But how much you have excess people waiting around for that emergency to occur versus not having an ambulance. So I think it's tough. I think Chris has done a great job. And again, I don't see, as the associate medical director, I don't see the day-to-day finances or the numbers. And I actually, the first time I heard any of the big numbers were at the meeting that I was asked to go to the other night. I don't normally sit in on the board meetings, but you know, I can tell you from a global perspective, a lot of EMS agencies are just closing their doors because they can't do it. So I hate to say it, but almost getting close to breaking even is actually one of the best places you could be in EMS these days, in my opinion. And I think that they're getting close to that. I know there's been some history before Chris and I wasn't around for that, so I don't know, but I think he's got a good head on his shoulders from an operational standpoint in terms of being able to do that moving forward. But I think that I think it's a combination of trying to get municipalities like yourselves, like Franklin Park, to assist in some of that waiting time, if you will, service, and then trying to do your best to maximize your billing when you're actually transporting the people that you can take out. It's tough though. It's not a business to make money these days.
Further questions? Okay. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it.
And we'll be in touch soon.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys very much. Nice meeting
Thank you.
everybody. Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, Doctor.
Thank you.
Thanks for applying.
No problem.
Yeah.
We want to unmute? Okay, hi, Mr. Cooper, thank you for joining us. Would you like to unmute yourself?
All right, you guys have me?
So,
So
welcome.
I'm traveling back to Pittsburgh, so
Sounds
a
good,
little
welcome.
dark in my car here traveling back.
Or highlight or whatever. You know, what you use. There we go.
There you go.
All right.
Much better.
So Brian, do you want to tell us about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Brian Cooper. I live over here in Franklin Park. Been in the medical field for a little over 20 years. A lot of shock trauma, neurological behind my background. Also, I'm a local business owner. I have a company called Salvage Pittsburgh here in the North Pittsburgh area. So multiple facets, 3 little kids, a wife, and yeah, that's the quick snapshot version of me.
Oh, so, couple questions. Start off with one, are you aware of the time
Sure.
limit for, this position?
I am. To my understanding, they meet once a month on a regular basis. Normal meetings run roughly about 2 hours plus. I think that's fairly standard.
Did we, close them?
Can you still hear us, Brian?
It looks like I may have lost you guys.
Okay.
Yep, there you go. I looks like I lost you. Sorry.
Okay, sorry, we didn't catch the last part. Yeah.
No, I was saying, to my understanding, the meetings run roughly about 2 hours each meeting, one day a month. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Very familiar with it.
What's your reasoning for wanting to apply for this position?
I'm also on another board. I'm the president of the Ingomar Swim Club, which is obviously directly behind the middle school. And I just looked at the openings and looking at another way that I feel I can give back to the community. If I can get in somewhere and utilize the skill set that I have with the background that I have, it would seem to benefit myself, future generations, and be a way for me to give back.
Do we want to go through some questions? And I actually forgot, I did not ask everyone to introduce themselves. So I do apologize for that. I'm Uday Pallet, I'm on council.
Luke Wislinski from council.
All right, Tom Schwartzmeyer with council.
Johnny Council.
Julie O'Keefe, Senior
Hi, Luke.
Counsel.
Well, if I could get in the picture, I don't know, but here I am. Dennis O'Keefe here.
Laura Check Eye on. Yes.
Is it?
I'm Brian Malkin on council.
Kathy Crummer, Secretary, we've emailed.
It's nice to finally meet you.
Borough Solicitor.
Pleasure.
Okay, now we can go through some questions. Are there any questions from the team? Not all at once.
I guess, Brian, would you highlight your medical experience again? That would, you mentioned it briefly at the start. but
Sure. Yes, so I currently consult for a company out of Europe, manage half the East Coast of the United States, multiple distributors selling multiple lines within the orthopedic and neurological markets. So currently have 5 distributors with roughly about 40 representatives underneath those umbrellas that we're managing on a daily basis through the healthcare system. So some of the larger healthcare systems that I'm responsible for, the Cleveland Clinic, UPMC, AHN, Allegheny Health Systems. So I've been in this part of the industry for roughly about 21 years, 22 years now. I start to lose track of time. And the majority of that time has been spent within the OR, covering cases with the surgeons, and then on the contracts and negotiation side for pricing.
Right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So Brian, I have one final question. So I guess you're a little aware of how the authority operates. There's 5 municipalities, the composition, right? So there's us, McCandless, Pine, Marshall, Bradford Woods, right? So as a board member, your interest is to represent Franklin Park and of course the overall solvency of the authority. Franklin Park is, in the past, we've always fully funded the authority. McCandless, I understand, is done in-kind funding. So one of the issues I've been facing is, financial issues, financial health. Now they've kind of turned it around. There's a lot going on over there. But like I said, we've always paid. Not everyone has. So what are your thoughts on that?
In regards to the financial, I didn't hear the last part you said.
Basically Franklin Park and McCandless, we've always funded, and there are other municipalities that are part of it that have not.
Yep.
I mean, it seems like it's changing, but just given that history, what are your thoughts on this as a board member?
I mean, it's hard to give my thoughts on it without really seeing the numbers and what's being contributed from each municipality, and if other municipalities are benefiting from the funding from just 2 municipalities. I'd want to look at obviously the numbers and see what that spread is.
Any questions? Do you have any questions for us?
I do. So you had mentioned that I would obviously be covering for Franklin Park. What have the previous board members? Has it always been that way, or has it been a split down the middle between representation for Franklin Park and McCandless?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but we have 2 board members. So you'll be filling one of the positions. That person chose not to redo this again. Just a lot of commitments. I believe McCandless has 3.
3 on top.
3, and that's it. And the other 3 municipalities do not have any,
That may or may
Okay.
not.
and we're not sure what'll change. Yeah.
Okay. My next question is, and I apologize, I was unable to attend the meeting on Monday night due to my travel schedule. What is the financial status right now, or the stability of the ambulatory authority?
I can give you my opinion, and I'll let everyone speak as well. But when I made the statement of Franklin Park has always fully funded our services,
Yep.
the authority, the 3 municipalities have not, and part of the issue is there has been an audit occurring. There's some disparities in, financial equity, but they seem to have closed the gap. But again, it's not a regular or a set funding stream. Now, that could be the reason why the board makeup is the way it is, but these are some of the things that we're looking for the board members to kind of really drive and, report back to us and kind of make the situation better.
Yeah, I think following up on what Renee said, they've run a pretty big deficit. I don't know if you can be right. Historically, they've been running a pretty big deficit, since they got a new executive director about a year and a half ago. He really has, started to close that gap. As Renee mentioned, they, I think for the first time this year, sent out a specific amount to each of the municipalities that they needed us to contribute. We, gave 100% of what they asked for. McCandless is about 60, I think. Pine might be at about 40%, 50% of what they asked for. I think that's what they're getting this year, from what I know. So hopefully that helps. You know, it's a tough business model in Pennsylvania, apparently. But they're doing good things, and they're doing much better than they have been in the past.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so the expectations, I guess, would be my next question is what are the expectations of the new board members coming on board? What do you see the new board member that's put into this position being able to accomplish, let's just say within their first year of being in that position?
I would definitely say supporting the authority, ensuring that it's solvent, working with your colleagues on the board, whether it's, you know, amicably coming to a agreement in funding, or making some hard decisions. We want to make sure the authority is in good shape, supporting the staff, the members, you know, the key personnel that really, you know, are working there, and the guts of the operation. But we want to make sure it's successful and, you know, continue the longevity of it. If that means bringing some innovative ideas that you might have, Brian, you know, we're supportive of that. We just want to make sure, you know, our board members, you know, they have our full support. We want to make sure the authority is, you know, in better shape than when you got there.
Chief Christel has,
Yeah, thank you for that.
this is Mayor O'Keefe. Christel has done an amazing turnaround there in the last couple of years. He's worked really hard, and so has the staff. He's done several open houses for people to come in and see the operation. And he encourages people to volunteer. And we're just really all proud of Chris's accomplishments. And of course, we want to see that to continue. And so any help that our new board member can help him with his determination to keep that so solvent, we're looking for that too.
Okay. Well, you know, from my side and my background, I think the one area that I bring outside of on the medical side and understanding on how the medical community works is the ability to run through the numbers of multi-million-dollar contracts and see where the opportunities lie and where they potentially may not. So I believe that's probably one of my biggest strengths on my background on the business side.
Thank you for applying.
Yeah, sure. It's my pleasure.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Okay. Brian, last thoughts? Any other questions for us?
I don't. I appreciate your time and sorry for the bad internet connection. I'm on the side of the highway here, so I appreciate it.
We've all been there.
No worries. Drive safely. Thanks again, and we'll be in touch.
I definitely will.
Thank you.
All right. Everybody have a great evening. Take care.
Thank you. Okay. So what are our next steps here? We apparently discussed choose a candidate to be appointed at this meeting.
Pretty much, I think.
Yes.
You got a.
Do it here or do we do it?
Mr. President, if I could just add for the record.
Go for it.
Jack Casey, who's a council member from Kansas. I had a recent conversation with him. He seems to know Ryan Cooper, and he just wanted me to let the council know that he highly recommends him. I don't know any one of these candidates, so it's not coming from me, but Jack wanted me to share that.
Okay. Do we verify everything?
Yes, background checks were all complete. They've all filled out the statement of financial interest, so
Hey, chief,
as far as. we're
Okay,
concerned,
so-
we're all good.
where you are for
Maybe
now.
I'll live here.
I answered that.
Okay, so they definitely looks.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I was
Yeah.
thinking,
We were saying about the board member.
for some reason I thought.
Yeah, go back to point.
Was it all outstanding?
Yeah, you wanna go around?
Well, I think everybody should probably know, Jamie Bonello is our other appointee, and he's very much a business background. Which, you know, it's nice, Brian, that Brian has that, but I like the medical background of the other two.
I'm kind of with Luke on that, I like the medical background.
I don't, they both seem like good to me.
So, just real quick, on the agenda has a blank name, right? So then we can come up with a name here and then out there. But that's somebody makes the motion. All right, Bill's in blank. So do you have a candidate for?
It's kind of a toss up.
It is, but the only thing I could-
The doctor maybe,
The-
I don't know.
And the only thing I can say is that I personally know Stuart Conte, and I've known him.
He's got a heck of a.
His resume.
I mean,
He's also, he's just a really good guy, and I know personally he's a really good guy, so I can vouch for him in that sense too.
Lou, I know you said Adam is your neighbor, right? Do you know him much or not really?
Say hello.
Yeah.
That's kind of my input.
Yeah, what do you guys think?
I'm like you, I'm on the cusp of.
Yeah.
I think Adam might be from a medical perspective. I'm trying to figure out who could represent Franklin Park the best on this committee. In either Stewart or Adam probably, but Stewart certainly from being in the field. You could certainly talk about operations and been involved as an EMS person, and his father was. So, I mean, probably knows a lot about the day-to-day operation. So I'm kind of thinking that interface to the hospital, and the medical doctor might provide slightly more, but quite honestly, I think either was very impressive. But I'd probably go a little bit towards the doctor.
Just to interject, I forgot, I did hear back from the doctor's side.
And
He doesn't like.
Yeah.
your neighbor,
He's
really
really
was.
a conflict
He's
at all.
really good.
I highly recommend it, Nick, so.
That was
You
my
recommend
question, would you say if the associate
The second,
medical director?
I don't, that's a good question.
I would
I don't,
think, I mean, if the way it's structured, it doesn't seem like there would be a reason
yeah.
you'd be conflicted out.
There wasn't any at all.
And opposite.
Chris, no,
Without naming.
According to Christel,
I can tell you what
did
doctor
not
said.
feel that there was any.
And it's a non,
Ask him if he would, if that was
Yeah.
his preference to say,
Okay.
but because if that leaves a vacancy there, and that leaves them in a lurch, that might be something.
but they do have a primary medical director, so they seem to be okay there. And also, it's also a non-compensated position, based on what he was saying.
Right,
Yes.
right. But it sounds like he does do a fair amount of work.
Here's what Dr. Stein said on this one too. I don't believe he's being paid, which obviously we know he's not. It's rare for physicians to be paid working with or ambulance services in Greater Pittsburgh. He is a UPMC doc, and runs calls with us for fun. UPMC's practice covers him. Actually, medical director is also his UPMC doctor. Adam is doing basically what Dr. Stein did. With the EMS service.
Nice, thank you.
Very nice. They always know conflict here. That is about it.
Christel's response is Adam was not in capital letters, a paid employee. He contacted Chris in mid-2022 to discuss how he could get involved. I'm happy to report that he has been a tremendous asset to our organization. He spends approximately one shift per week. Supervisor interacts with crews and patients, also responds to calls from his home when available. He has a lot of EMS knowledge. We could benefit from having someone like that in his back. That was Chris.
He's already involved, and you potentially have another person
So it's
also involved. It doesn't sound like he's.
I just wanted to set
Away,
the thing.
and even if you're a, authority figure, you've got somebody who's got ideas, you're working with them. Bounce things up, yeah, there's certain executive session topics that you wouldn't be in, but Sounds like you're in a good position with either of them, but you got one already. Familiar. Yeah. Bringing costs or something, it's gonna become more.
I'd like to get a picture.
And if you keep it line.
What do you think, Tom?
What are you, yeah,
Yeah, what do you got?
Yeah, well, all of them will be marked down the station. Then I will carry it. But I would have cut them off because Adam, since that he has, just walking a lot of connected, maybe, comedian and board, so, my question would be like, what if he has come to, to work on, like, specifically on this board, and so because this is also negative, and, you need to spend some time on this, and I'm not too sure whether there's something like that.
So based on his other commitments, you're worried about
Yeah,
taking on this?
like
it's something.
the cranberry,
Yeah,
being cranberry
Not
medical
of-
director.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and,
that could be a stretch.
I would say that, I'll go with it, that's, if you decide.
We did ask for it, we had to find. Yes, all three.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't move. It's more 1, 2 hours.
One evening a month, basically. Or,
I was leaning slightly toward Adam, just because it sounds like he has some more, experience in terms of like, working with the authority, how it would work, like oversight. Having said that, but Max did a really good point, because we already have an asset there.
You get a bonus.
Yeah. But you also don't want to punish him, for lack of a better word, for already serving there and
Yeah.
helping out, and so that's not a decision, I realize, but I think I'd probably lean a little bit.
for down, so. Dennis,
Yeah, I felt, I thought they all were definitely good to choose from, but I really felt that Adam offered a lot, with his experience. And he does, so I would be in line with Adam.
I already said I can vouch for Stuart. It's a good guy. And if he's actually saying he wants to make a commitment to the board, I know he's going to, because we talked, before he contacted Kathy. And he was concerned about the time commitment and is this something that he could do? So before he reached out, he checked everything out, and talked to Chris and tried to figure it all out. So he's serious about making the commitment, plus I know that, he's a good guy. So I'm obviously I'd like to see him appointed if people are voting that. Everybody was, the idea of having somebody who's kind of medical background does appeal, absolutely.
Straw poll?
Yeah.
Oh, you got it.
yeah, I just wrote some, yep, so I'll let everyone give me their name. Luke, wanna go first?
Yeah, I guess I'll do that.
Tom,
Adam, Stewart's very good. You got to pick one, I probably, yeah.
Okay.
We add another board seat?
Yeah.
I was gonna do rank choice voting, but we don't have a whiteboard here. Doug Lee,
I'll go public spirit.
Dennis, you wanna vote?
Adam.
Laura,
I think it is tough to consider Adam, they're both really well qualified, that's what I'm gonna go with that.
yes, so just reminded, Mr. Mayor, yeah,
Tiebreaker.
you are the tiebreaker vote, so. But I do have your tiebreaker vote, the event that we get there. Brian,
I'm Stuart.
so. It's 3 for Adam, 2 for Stuart. I am gonna go for Adam. However, I do want to say, I did appreciate Brian Cooper.
Yeah.
Especially when we went in the financial discussion of our non-paying communities. However, I do think Adam would, Dr. Frisch would understand that as well as Stuart. But I do like the EMS experience. I'm not seeing conflict, and actually he might bring some purview into what's happening in Cranberry, how they're running their operations as well, just by seeing what's there, that he could bring to our authority as well. I have a feeling that things might be a little different up there versus in terms of the money. Okay, so I'm for Adam in this case. So it's 14. Okay.
Motion seven would be, should we say Dr. Adam?
Dr. Adam Frisch.
The T is.
Is it FRIS?
Okay. Yeah, just let me know.
Okay. Yeah, Luke, you want to do it? That's cool. All right, so that concludes the FF PEAA interviews. All right, we're good together.
No, tomorrow.
Okay, moving on, any old business? None. Going on to new business. So, you kind of over Max, yes.
Short one.
Let's get track.
Seven, that might be a record. Our three officers, everything lined up?
We're good.
You're out there, you're good, Mayor, okay? Yeah. We do pictures afterward, we're good.
When does the meeting be?
Everything else is in order.
I think it might be 3 o'clock. We do next.
You're gonna mention the call from the pub today, from the call, north of the call. The third meeting is.
Hey.
Friendly reminder.
Yeah.
Three in a row, you have plenty of questions.
Is it virtual?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
you bet.
And I believe I did.
Either one.
Provided them.
We got meeting tomorrow. That's tomorrow. Friday would be best.
Thought they said.
Unless you could do it.
I haven't seen
Tomorrow morning.
I think they sent to me,
Okay.
for whatever reason, I don't know, I still
I
got the.
will touch base with Kathy.
I can forward, they sent me the whole package too, but I can forward the package.
yeah, just want to forward it to his, dude, what time it's at?
You know what time it is?
7 o'clock,
Seven.
7 to 8, and they're real, when I was attending them, they're very punctual, I didn't know time like that.
Okay.
No mess.
All right, is there anything like from Franklin Park purview, like to advocate for or say anything?
All anything there.
Yeah, that's fine, wherever we get.
Call.
Good in the morning.
Anything we can talk
9:30
about.
maybe?
Call.
Yeah, that's fine, good in the morning.
No, nothing on, yeah.
That's usually the best thing, that people.
They usually contact the Eric and discuss something, and just so,
Just be present.
yeah, most.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. Okay.
Good.
All right, so manager report discussion items.
Sorry,
Yeah, good.
Reed and I had a discussion and he said I should bring it up here with Max, and council. We would like to purchase a piece of equipment for programming. And then have the instructor pay us back. So at the end of the programming, we would want the program to continue, but the instructor would own that piece of equipment. It's basically, we have buying power to purchase this for our programs. So it would basically be a loan to the instructor, and they would pay us back in monthly transaction.
Yeah, okay, so we're able to, it's like having a friend that has a hospital member.
Yes.
I mean, that's,
I mean, we had provisions in the Borough Code for selling personal property. We do a resolution. We've advertised it. How much is this?
under 7,
What?
under 7,000. Probably closer to 6,500.
And it's above 2,000, so it's under that require, or it falls for that requirement.
The only thing I can compare it to is we've done like field and scoreboards and things like that for associations.
Right, but then Like, do they reimbursements are, you know, well, it's the snow off against the mixture. I mean, what type of equipment is this movable?
Yeah, movable,
So, right,
yeah. Building material, building blocks, things like that.
Okay.
So it's not a permanent fixture by any means.
We're gonna buy it and they'll own it at the end.
At the end, yeah,
Actually,
And they pay it back.
yeah, it stays on site until, you know.
And they're
It's,
paying us the same amount, now they get depreciated, amount that we use it.
they're paying for the full amount because it's for their program. So it's like a no interest loan, essentially. And what is it? What's this piece of equipment? Building blocks and tubes and we're looking to do preschool programming, out of the activity center. So it's like a construction set, if we want to call it that, imagination play.
You can make that work in some months.
So have we done something like similar before?
That's what we're,
With the
yeah,
association.
no, yeah, kind of with the associations, but it's usually not soft goods, it's more of a permanent, you know,
They contribute money.
yeah,
Putting in a stock, but it's essentially ours, they have the right to use it under.
yeah, like
Like
we
lease for,
taken money for buildings, we've taken money for press boxes, things like that.
yeah,
Is there any sort of like rent provision or rent paid? Because we'll own it until they. Finish it.
Well, yeah, installment contract.
that's the thing, the only thing
Oh,
that's,
okay.
you know, when you're dealing with personal property, there is a provision in the Borough Code, anything over $2,000, you have to make public bid, and I guess we could set it up that way, and maybe the only bidder, we could set a reserve price of $6,700 and pass a resolution, you know, kicking it off whenever it's ready.
But somebody else have a right to bid on.
Yeah, they could, so I mean, that's the thing, they're at risk, and if we get more money from somebody else, and
That's our duty though, right?
Yeah.
It's our money.
that's the thing, just because it's weird for personal property, because probably had too many instances of people just giving away borough property or otherwise. There is a competitive process. If we follow it and set it up that way, kind of like an interested purchaser agreement and a sheriff's sale, you go to the school district, say, take this property to sheriff's sale, I'll guarantee a minimum bid. They do it, you get outbid, you're out of luck, but at least you follow the right process.
They've got the risk, but
They do.
so they're asking us to use our buying power to
Right.
get the equipment. They may not get it in the end, they're gonna have to use it until it gets sold.
Now, the only issue, so we're under, we don't need to go out for written quotes. We don't need to go out for formal bidding. We can just buy it off CoStarz, which is in it, or it's under the thresholds. But we'll sell it or dispose of it, is where the $2,000 threshold comes into play.
So she can process it.
And I guess the other risk on us is that nobody buy, they say, I don't want it at that point, or otherwise we bought $7,000. But maybe we do it like an interested purchaser agreement that says, we'll buy this, you know, you guarantee you're gonna bid $7,000, you know, at whatever time period, we'll expose it to public auction, we'll do the cheap version.
Your minimum, bid, if we do this, when it goes to auction, your minimum bid on this is gonna be whatever the bid
Whatever the prices.
I think that makes sense.
It's $7,000, but we're gonna sue a preschool, chase them because it didn't. Sort of a risk on our side as well. It doesn't work out for them. Receive their payments. That's good.
I think it makes sense.
You want to recommend.
Yeah, I mean, it's bringing programming outside of what we're currently offering to the borough. That's with a trusted person.
Not certain daycares. Dinners on it.
No, it is not for them.
Okay, so,
We'll make it work.
yeah, looks good.
I'll look into it. Good.
All right, 10 minutes left, so. Okay, so, let's see, major report items, I didn't get a chance to connect with the beach, I don't know, was there anything else to mention?
He's
Is
on.
he online? Oh, okay,
I don't think he had anything, but.
Reach, you're online. Do you have anything you want to go over? If that's you.
Really.
Okay.
He had said today that he would be online, but that he didn't expect to speak, so.
All right, that's okay. Well, if you come up with anything, just unmute yourself, please. That's fine. Okay, let's just go over, there's this joint bills, DUI task force participation, does anybody? Yes.
Yeah, you have the information in the report. For the sake of brevity, if you folks have any questions or concerns, I'd be glad to address them. But it was pretty clear in the report that I gave you guys, so.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
It seems like something.
So
Think we
we
should.
do need like, you know, for board joint task force, this was the 2019 case where convictions were thrown out. We do need to authorize it by a resolution. Used to be an ordinance and you have to go pay for it, but they did change the law after that. So for an intergovernmental cooperation agreement, like a DUI task force does require an authorization by a resolution. So we can get that ready for the February.
Thank you.
Does that work for your timeline?
Yeah, we're not up against anything. I imagine maybe by St. Patrick's Day might be when they're planning on having one. Thank you.
Cool. All right, I don't see it on here, but for course of staff, kick it off. Eric?
What I have is, I just wanted to ask, I got a question here. I found out today or the other day that, this truck that we bought from, Hunter's Trucks in Peterbilt, we actually had back and forth. Back and forth. Well, we got a problem with it again. They just sent me another notice here that their price increase of another $8,000. They want us to, as of right now, we're gonna have to do a re-sign on it. Take it and put it back in the motion on it to do next month if we go this route. If you take this 8,000 they're adding to this and you look back to the international I can, you're talking almost $24,000 difference now. The only
It's gonna be
problem.
locked in or it's still saying that they're.
Well,
do it again.
the only thing that's locked in, well, they have a disclaimer in there, prices can look at any time. And
They have no risk.
that's what the disclaimers are, and they're doing it, they're all doing the same thing through trucking, trucking companies. Now, I talked with International today, and I got from International, he's claiming that the price that they have, that $116,000 for the truck that they have versus $139 that Peterbilt's being asked for now, is gonna hold. He says that, now it's very, 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 I like it, the thing is gonna add any extra money to it. The only problem we have on this is, they call it a build date. They have build dates that are available.
Wait a couple days of free cash.
He's only talking that they have 4 more build dates left. And he doesn't think that it's gonna, that these build dates are gonna be there if we wait until next month, make a motion on this truck.
That's on the international.
Yeah, on the international.
So
The only, I just don't know, like I said.
Do we have a build date on the Peterbilt?
The build date, there's a build date that's on the Peterbilt, but we have to do, like I said, we're gonna have to sign for the extra $8,000. Just for the cab chassis. I think it's way too much, the only other thing we can do is if we miss this build date, we're gonna have to probably go back out like in probably May and rebid for a truck for 2026. 2026 is all, not 2025 is for 2026. He said if there's a way that we could possibly sign for this build date on this truck, the international, we can get this, that would be set up for us to buy for the bid for the international to be built probably in sometime in December. That would put us in, if they build it in December, that's gonna put it on 2025 for us for payment, like we originally talked about. But like I said, there's no,
I've never seen a moving target for uniform.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Crazy. mean,
I couldn't believe it when I
It's
said
a
it.
material condition of the contract, that's why I said the thing.
And like I said, they have a disclaimer in our stating what they can, they can change
So
prices and where,
what's your recommendation?
my recommendation is I think the $24,000 is way too much for the Peterbilt. If there's a way that we can somehow get this truck for a build date for sign this thing to, that I could do before, so we don't have to drag this in with next month for the motion for the buying of the truck. If we do this, on this build date, I can set it up to where, if we can do that and sign for a build date, and then next month, go ahead and do the motion. If it's possible to do.
So-
You don't think this one has an escalation clause like the other one?
Well, it does, but he's telling me that has not seen any increases in anything that they
It's the
do.
same price.
He's been holding, his prices have been holding, so, even if it went up a couple $1,000, it still doesn't match the 24 that we're gonna pay for the Peter. It's, I think it's just crazy how what it's going, the trucks are going.
We've decided tonight.
So.
I'm good with what you recommend, what you're talking about right now.
So we can't add a motion to the agenda tonight, thanks to the General Assembly changing the rules and the Commonwealth Court's interpretation. You can give consensus or head nods, or yes, you'd consider a ratification motion at the February 21st meeting. Third option, advertise the February 7th work session as a voting meeting, special. Go out there and.
That might even be too late.
If I can
That might
do
be-
that on that.
Even though it's a $24,000 savings.
Yeah,
it's a reduction.
Well, because we're changing everything, because remember, we approved the first one, we rescinded that one, we approved the Peterbilt, so right now, it's Peterbilt at an X amount of dollars. So anything change it, we have to do it either way, like authorize the new price or ratify or otherwise change this. Yeah, is not conducive, not only for like the changing of thing, but for a public entity that, supposed to vote on a firm price.
It's already here, we can't even know what for. I don't know if we want to do business with somebody that keeps boosting. I think it's just bad to do that.
Yeah, my vote is to ratify it.
Is the international built in USA? Even though the name international?
Yeah.
Because there is provisions.
Oh,
We
I
have
say
to
we,
do two motions.
Yeah, we'd have to figure it out.
Well, the reason is we always do the truck and then
Send it,
Well, hey,
everything else.
everything else.
Well, then,
Because we had flip flopped it for the Peterbilt and the international.
well, the
Find
international,
them all.
this one here is all built, any warranties are all built into this international, one set price. It has the extended warranties and everything, all built into this price on this one here. So, it's just a single motion.
it's initially
Well-
more expensive and now it's cheaper.
So it would be, as Guy said, rescind a rescission motion on the Peterbilt, which, and I don't remember if that was two separate motions, but we can kind of combine it like we did. The other one, that was four motions. I thought, wasn't it like four motions?
There was
for
four
the
motions, I
international?
don't think, yeah, because there was
There was a bunch.
extended warranty, there was extended towing package.
So we're gonna,
This one doesn't have it, so, and then plus
We're going international, right?
Peterbilt has just, it has just one motion.
okay, that's fine. So,
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do that, then we'll, whatever. we do.
yeah, whatever we need.
Go ahead, yeah, with it, but we will rescind the Peterbilt motions and we'll ratify
That's
the,
fine.
figure out what.
But the thing is, my question is this, really, there's a good possibility if you don't sign this intent letter.
Yeah, I think
That's what I said, sign the intent,
Yeah,
Sign it, we'll
Sign.
We'll ratify.
Yeah.
but we'll ratify it, but.
We'll like catch up.
Everybody on board with that?
And
Yeah.
Any objections? Speaking of.
All right, so good. Yeah. Pretty- Real quick, yeah,
Sorry,
Speaking of
sorry about
ratifications,
holding everybody up.
no worries. Planning commission, good.
speaking of ratification,
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's not gonna be until next month.
but that would be a ratification at February's, but the concept was, so Wetco came through the planning commission again last night with two minor modifications in terms of just changing the sound wall, shifting a bit and changing from asphalt to concrete, or there were.
If they had to move the sign wall because it was actually too close to the curb and it wouldn't stay there.
It's a minor thing that technically really Do they need to be a revised land development approval and recording plan? Probably not. We have a resolution that we passed in 2010 to sort of address these minor changes after final approval, how they go through it. Yeah, some of them are stormwater that just the engineer looks at, some come to council, some are deferred to planning commission for a vote. This one's in this, you know, well, the whole thing is baked in that we can, you know, address the need as we see it come up. The wrinkle here is we got a call from Wetco and their attorney saying, okay, we've made these small changes. We understand you're not up for a next meeting vote until the 21st. You know, is there any way you could consider a ratification vote because we planned the grand opening for February 15th in terms of the announcements and everything else. So we said, well, we'll talk about it. You know, we do have flexibility on the resolution. You know, if there are issues at the planning commission, all bets might be off, but it went through smoothly last night. It was an improvement to the plans. You know, if similar to the discussion we just had, if the council is comfortable with a ratification vote on the 21st, Tim can tell them to move forward with moving this sound wall and staying on their opening schedule.
I think we should do that, and the good reason for it is that instead of them coming in and begging for forgiveness,
They
they
have
ask
to
for
make-
permission, and we should
Exactly.
reward that.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
This is similar to their landscape change too, that you talked about.
Yeah,
Sounds good to me.
I think we should do that.
Should we, yeah,
Ratification.
got like 3 minutes to shut out. Is there anything else? Or is it-